Hello everyone, I'm Ollie Hines, aka Darwin Nelson, manunderground.com, and I'm both honoured and excited to say we're here with Schmier from Destruction.
How's it going? I'm good.
Good.
A little tired today, but
I'm not surprised because I was going to say you've done 2 sets.
Yeah, it was an early show today, and
yeah.
So.
Well, you said during the set it was the earliest Destruction you've ever played.
Ever. Like it's tough to play so early because you need a certain time for your voice to wake up, and yeah, it's kind of morning metal doesn't work, I think, but it worked for us. We were getting up early enough and had some beers before the show. And
yeah, it doesn't always work, but I mean the crowd today were well into it, and they were well into it on Thursday as well.
Oh yeah, first day the crowd was amazing.
Yeah.
It's too bad we had a lot of problems there, but today was the opposite. We had a good performance, there's no problems, and the crowd was good too. I mean, you have to see it's fucking hot out there. It's not easy. It was not easy for us also to perform because the heat was brutal today. I mean, we're in the Caribbean, so.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit different from Germany and England, but I thought you handled the technical problems really well. I mean, you were struggling, but you were just. It is what it is.
Yeah, and, the show must go on. That's important, and of course, people were excited when everything started first night, and so we knew we had to go through this somehow, and we made it. And everybody loved the show at the end. Yeah. So.
Well, I remember it was on the Live Discharge DVD when there was footage from back.
Oh yeah.
And the same thing happened.
It's actually legendary. The moment when everything, the whole power cuts off, and the crowd kind of were celebrating themselves basically, and it was like those magic moments that you don't experience often like this.
But when it happened on Thursday, I just went, oh, not again. Can they not get lucky once?
No, actually, it's kind of we call it the curse. It's kind of sticking on our asses. It follows us everywhere.
Oh, dear. Curse the gods. Okay. Well, at the minute you're promoting 2 albums basically. You have the latest album of original material, Under Attack. Where does the title for Under Attack come from?
I mean, basically we're influenced by what's going on in the world nowadays. We're under attack of everything. There's no more quiet moments because we're all having cell phones. We have to check our emails all day. The news are all over the place, and we're under the influence of so many things nowadays. And that was the main idea behind Under Attack. And then of course also the global situation, that there's more wars everywhere. Yeah. And was a sad tendency. So Under Attack was for me the right title. It's of course a little controversial at the same time because nobody likes to see the ugly truth in the mirror. But we're writing lyrics like this because otherwise I turn insane. It's for me it's a good psychological thing to write my ideas down. And as we travel a lot around the world, I see a lot of things behind the curtain, not just in the news. I go to the countries that are involved, if it's India or Russia or America or Colombia or wherever. We've been everywhere, and it's good to have a look inside and build your own opinion. And that's what I'm writing about. Basically.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the best education you can get, is traveling.
Of course. If everybody in this world, it should be the law for everybody to travel, because then it would be a much better world, because people see different cultures, see different influences, and understand different cultures also. And then they wouldn't fight other cultures anymore, because they live and let live.
Yeah, I was going to ask you later, but it's the perfect time to bring it up. Have you experienced any hostility yourselves for being German? I mean, in Europe, Germany is kind of seen as the leader of the EU, if you like, and I know there's some countries like Greece or whatever that are a little. They have some sections.
Of course, I mean, and you always have to understand both stories. I mean, the Greek for many years they didn't take care about their economy. And at the end, of course, it comes always to the same situation. There's no more money. All the politicians are fucking rich. They made a lot of money, and poor people are fucked. And then somebody has to start saving money, and of course it's the poor people who's going to pay for this. And Germany is one of the richest countries in Europe, of course, stepped in and tried to help, and of course, as it always is, banks and stuff have interest to make money too. So it's the it's a different situation, you know. I think I understand the Greek people, and I'm not a big fan of our government, actually. You know, there were some of those people in charge are total idiots.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's in the end, it's all about making money. You know, it's not about saving other people or saving countries. It's about making more money, and that's sad to see, of course. I have to say, there's when I'm touring the world, being German is still a big privilege, because Germany has a lot of like fans also, like, you know, if it comes to football or
of course,
or German heavy metal and stuff. So I also get a lot of positive vibes. You know, I mean,
good.
I also grew up in the last generation when after the war it wasn't so easy, you know, and we also played countries like Israel, you know, where I expected people to be very skeptical about Germany and stuff, but a lot of stuff has changed, you know, and luckily people forgive and move on, you know.
Yeah.
And that's also my theory about life, you know. I never look back. I always look forward in the future. What you can change today for a better thing will help you tomorrow, you know, and that's my philosophy.
Absolutely. I mean, like you're kind of saying there, it's a case of you judge people as you find them. I used to be in a band with a German drummer, and every time we'd go out, and he'd always meet someone, befriend him, and at the end of the night they'd say, "You're the nicest German I've ever met," and he'd say, "I am the only German you've ever met."
Yeah, it's like how we call this incrimination. People are prejudging everything, you know.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah.
And it's because you maybe never been to that country, you know.
Yeah.
As I'm traveling a lot, you know, there's a lot of things about Germany I don't like, but there's
Yeah,
also a lot of stuff about Germany I like, and it's the same in other countries, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, from what I read in Germany at the minute, politically, I mean, you've mentioned not being a fan of the Merkel government.
No, it's the most terrible government we ever had in the last 30, 40, 50 years. It's they're only there for the industry, you know. We're paying taxes like crazy. The country's having a lot of other problems, you know, and of course you all know what you did with like trying to save the world with the immigration policy, you know. It's kind of divided Europe in the end, you know, which is something we don't want, you know. We need Europe to live, you know, and it's for me as a musician, you know, in Europe kind of united was a dream, because when I was young, a traveling musician, we had all those borders, you know, where we could go nowhere. We had to have visas and carnets to enter countries. And in the last 10, 15 years, stuff was getting so much better, and now it's falling apart again. That's sad to see.
Well, you, if I'm not mistaken, you're not far from the Swiss border, are you? So I remember Mike saying...
Swiss and French, yeah. We actually live directly in the corner of Switzerland, Germany and France.
Yeah, because I remember Mike saying in an interview about going across the border to see Corona.
Yeah. We actually grew up in the Swiss metal scene, because at that time, beginning of 80s, there was no scene in our area.
Right.
And Switzerland had the bigger cities, and some of them already had some concerts. So we went to see the first bands in Switzerland, like Saxon '81 and Roaster 2 1980 and Metallica '83, stuff like this. Yeah.
Cool, man. I mean, it was around '83 when Destruction, as we know it, I think, came into their own. I'm trying to remember the original name of the band. It was like Night.
Yeah. Before Destruction, we called Night of Demon.
That's it.
And at that time, I still had a singer and a second guitar player, and it was more like kind of Iron Maiden kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And but me and Mike, we always wanted to play something more extreme, and also Tommy, we all liked the extreme stuff, and then the guitar players left us because we were getting too extreme, and then we had a 5-year singer, so he left us too, and then we said it's time for a new name, and because the music was getting more extreme at that time, and then we named ourselves Destruction.
Yeah, it's a lot more apt.
Yeah, you know, Sonic Destruction, that's of course Sonic music, and, you know, destroying musical wise is kind of was the idea behind it, and of course luckily at that time the names are still available, you know. Thrash metal was not born yet, and the Sonic Destruction was basically our aim at the time, and that's what also happened when we started. That people didn't understand what we were doing because it was too extreme.
Yeah, I think I remember you mentioning that at the time people thought you were a punk band.
Oh yeah, at the beginning a lot of people thought we were punk band because we were so fast and so extreme. And I remember we had have sent out a demo tape to several labels, and Noise Records actually were the one that answered first, and they said, "Sorry, we don't sign punk bands," and we were fucking insulted.
Yeah.
And then we got signed to SPV. And a half year later, Noise Records signed Creator, another punk band.
Well, I've heard a lot of horror stories about Noise Records, mostly from Celtic Frost.
I mean,
maybe you dodged a bullet there.
You know, those labels back in the day, they made bad contracts. We have signed some bad contracts too, and we finally got out now, like 30-something years later. We finally got out of those contracts with a lawyer and a lot of patience and investigation and everything. And we all signed bad contracts at the time because there was no experience and it was new. And as an example, nowadays you sign a deal maybe for 3 albums and maybe 10 years of rights for the label. On our first contracts, the label had the rights for all the albums forever.
Okay.
Which is actually illegal. You cannot. It's basically you basically become a slave, of the label. Like,
absolutely.
That's not actually not allowed. So back in the day, also the payment was bad. You get like, per record. I think we earned like, how much was it? 30 pennies or 30 cents.
Fucking hell.
Per album.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was bad.
I mean, you only wrote and performed the songs. It's not like you did much.
Yeah, I mean, at that time you didn't know better, and we were lucky to find a label, and the contracts are long and difficult, and at that time also there was no real lawyers doing this. How do you call it in English?
The music industry.
Yeah, this music industry law. It's a complicated thing, and I remember we had a lawyer that looked at the contracts, but he didn't really understand the thing what was in there.
Right.
But that's how it is. That's the price you have to pay.
Yeah.
That's how it was at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, if I remember rightly, I've read recently that the first few albums are being re-released now.
Yeah, actually, so the vinyls are out since a while, and now also the CDs are. Are just coming out in this moment, I think, now in February. They're out, and people should be able to buy them on Amazon and stuff. And it's a smaller label, on High Roller Records, because they're specialized on the re-releases. But they do everything with a lot of dedication and a lot of details. And some people have already complained that it's not going to be in all the record stores. But nowadays you can order it online.
Well, that's the good thing about this day and age, is that you can find.
Everybody has Amazon. Every country has Amazon. Go on Amazon, find the High Roller releases and order them. That's the easiest way. And we're glad we have found a smaller label that does it with dedication. Then if you do a re-release on a bigger label, they don't really care about it because they have too many albums coming out at the same time. And High Roller did a great job, and we're really satisfied. And we had actually great, fantastic feedback from the fans so far also. Good
stuff. I mean, it's not just re-releasing the albums, though. You've re-recorded a lot of the old materials.
Oh, we also
the thrash anthems.
We also did that, and that is of course something that we really like to do because I know not all the fans like it, but there's also a big amount of fans that really like those new versions because they're a little more fresh and they're a little more tight.
Yeah.
And of course they also show our current status, the way the band sounds nowadays. Like even after 35 years, we still sound fresh. And I think that's also a statement for thrash anthems too. Is we made those old songs, we give them a little facelift, and it still kicks ass. And for us, it's the chance, of course, to bring those old songs back into the set list. Songs we never played at all, or songs we have not played for 30 years. Like The Ritual or Black Mass and stuff like this. So I'm looking forward to bring those songs back into the set list for the next couple of years.
There's even some of the more recent Destruction songs. I say recent, I mean from stuff like the Antichrist and Metal Discharge, which in the grand scheme of things wasn't that long ago, even though I think it's coming up to 20 years.
Yeah, it's crazy now. Yeah, actually, Antichrist is now. No, it's 2018, 17 years ago already.
Jesus Christ! I mean, it's strange that since you've returned, this lineup, if you like, of Destruction has I think been longer than the original.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, you know, the original time wasn't that long if you think about it. I mean, for us it seemed forever because we were so young.
Yeah.
But in the end, I mean, we started '83 and we split up in '89. You know, so it was only basically 6.5 years or so.
Yeah.
When we were together, and now it's 3 times more. Yeah, even more than 3 times more.
Good. Well, just to touch on something a little bit before we wrap up, is of course Destruction were the most, maybe even the most important band when it comes to German thrash. I say maybe as a qualifier.
I think I think they were all important. You know, Creator and Sodom, and even some of the more underground bands that never really made it so big. They were also important, like the Assassin and Death Row and Tankard, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, it was important at the time when the scene started that we had some bands doing the same thing, having the same aims. You know, I remember the first time I saw about Sodom before, but then the first time I heard about Creator, they were called Tormentor, and I was like, wow, another German band that plays the same kind of music. You know, I just saw the picture in a little fanzine, but I knew this band was also a 3-piece and it was going in our direction. You know, and just by looking at the picture, and that was great.
Yeah.
And of course, it's great that some of those bands are still around also.
Yeah, I mean, even today, you fulfilled the wishes and dreams of many fans of German thrash when you and Varva jammed with Miller.
Oh yeah,
Whiplash, and that was brilliant. Yeah. That was so good.
Yeah, actually, me and Miller. I mean, we got him on stage once at the Destruction show before. He was singing with us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen very often that we're on stage together. Even we know each other so long and we're friends and stuff. But yeah, it's one of those special moments.
It was very special.
Yeah,
not just the 3 of you, but you also had Andreas from Sepultura and Matt from Exhumed, and it was just this amazing once-in-a-lifetime thing. I mean, I've been sending videos to it all day to one friend.
All right.
Look what I've been doing today. Look what you're not doing.
Yeah, the jam is of course a great fun thing. You know?
Yeah.
And it's also very exciting for the bands because nothing is rehearsed. You know, everybody learns a song at home, and then we all meet up on stage and just play. You know.
Yeah.
So everything can happen. So it's exciting for the musicians too.
Absolutely.
I spoke to some of my fellow friends in other bands today before the show, and a lot of people were nervous. You know, like,
I can imagine.
Because normally, like playing shows is normal, but something like this is of course more exciting. Like Water says, you know, see some of the best musicians fucking up some classics.
Yeah. What was cool to see as well was that in addition to having the band, the members up front all playing together, you could see all the other musicians stood behind the kit, all watching and just enjoying it too. It was really good.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Right.
Yeah,
well,
something like this is definitely super great.
Well, I think it's about time we wrap it up. But thank you so much for speaking.
Thank you, man. My pleasure.